Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Yoda Bolt fam, it's the director. Chargers fans, we're growing a little bit closer to the NFL draft. Pick number 21 just on the horizon. Who are we going to pick? Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah. We're going to get that Zay Flowers speed wide receiver. We are going to talk about the draft today, but not about the first round, maybe not even the second round. Today is all about the draft steals. A concept that the Chargers are not unfamiliar with, as they did land Jamari Sawyer last season, who turned out to be one of the biggest steals in the draft. Can the Chargers do it again? And this is where the videos kind of get fun in the offseason for the draft, because I got my guys. You guys got your guys. Today I'm going to share with you guys, my gems that I think the Chargers should target, and let's say the third round and beyond, that I think Justin Herbert would love on that offense. But you guys in the comment section below, please leave your guys in the comments too. One of these guys actually was brought in by a comment from Jay the Golden Mike, supporter of the channel, and I would love to broaden my horizons a little bit in terms of these draft gems with the guys that you guys suggest. So let's jump right into it, guys. Before we do, shout out to the sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. I gotta tell you guys, if you're like me and you don't watch or anything other than the NFL, I'm purely an NFL guy, maybe even just purely a Chargers guy. If you guys want to help broaden your horizons in terms of sports and having fun and viewing these sports, Underdog Fantasy's really helped me out with the NBA. I have loved watching it, more specifically the Jazz this season. It's been a really good time. If you guys want to jump in on the action during the NFL offseason, use code DIRECTOR to match your first deposit up to $100. Definitely by far my favorite fantasy platform on the web. As always, guys, we also have a reminder for our giveaway. That's right, if you're a fan of the Asante Samuel Jr., rising star cornerback of the Los Angeles Chargers, we got a signed jersey with your name on it to one of my lucky subscribers. All you got to do to enter for this awesome powder blue beauty is hit up the link in the description, follow the instructions there, and make sure you are subscribed. Only subs can win. You guys know we don't stop there. We're giving away 2 jerseys like we always do. This is going to be a signed Sean Merriman jersey to one of my crew members as a thank you from me to you guys for supporting the channel in the offseason. All you guys got to do to enter for this is be a member of my crew. That is it. Get your hands on this lights out jersey to help Director keep the lights on in the studio. With that all out of the way, let's get into it. Before we do, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. Small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into these draft gems. Lights, camera, action. Chargers draft gems part 1. We're going to start with the offensive weapons because, of course, why not? Let's, hit the ground running with some fun, maybe weapons to add for Justin Herbert, and maybe even add that speed. I think a lot of people know where we're getting at with this one, right? Kellen Moore said it himself. I think even Brandon Staley said we need more speed. We need more speed on this offense, and hopefully my list of guys here can help accomplish that. So the Chargers, who hit on a Jamari Sawyer last year, who are some guys that I think they should be targeting in the middle to late rounds in 2023. Let's jump off the board here real quick. And again, I'm going to try and cover a lot of these weapons in terms of offense. We're going to kind of glide over the first one at quarterback because the Chargers just extended Easton Stick. They could go out there and draft a quarterback. This team has rostered 3 quarterbacks for the past several seasons. If they would like to do that, I would imagine that they're going to go through the draft and try and groom a guy like they did Easton Stick. And who else better than, I would say, Jaron Hall, who kind of reminds me of Easton Stick a little bit, right? Athletic, similar to Easton, maybe a bit higher upside. Guy out of BYU, if it wasn't obvious enough there. And I don't know, his upside actually may be a little bit higher in my opinion. He's great at extending plays, finding open targets, very smart, creative. He just finds a way. This is the way. He finds a way. But he is, alas, very undersized. I think somewhere around 6 feet tall. He's got that Breeze disease. But I do think it's not a bad idea. If the Chargers, if they really are serious about rostering 3 quarterbacks, you could probably find this cat in the 5th or 6th round and not have to spend too much capital on that. So there's your quarterback. Let's get into some of the fun stuff here. Wide receiver. Yeah, we're not going to waste any time on that. Let's start with the first guy here, which, again, maybe a name that a lot of you guys do see in my videos and other even Chargers content creators' videos. in Marvin Mims, wide receiver at Oklahoma. Now, of course, we have our guys in the first round, right? And even the second round in Jalen Hyatt and Zay Flowers. And those would be your guys that are primarily featured as maybe your wide receiver 2 potential, maybe even wide receiver 1 in the future, although I don't think the upside is that high. When you get into, let's say, the second and third round, which is kind of where I'm seeing Marvin Mims falling, you're getting a guy that really does fit where the Chargers need them now, and that's going to be like a wide receiver 3, maybe even a guy that you rotate in at 3 with Josh Palmer, and he adds that element that the Chargers are missing. It's that speed element. This dude's fast, maybe one of the fastest in the draft. He ran, I think, a 4.34 or something like that. You guys have to remind me in the comment section below, but still one of the faster guys that you'll find in this year's draft that's kind of lacking in terms of premium speed. When I talk premium speed, I'm talking, sub 4.3, get those guys in the mid 4.2s, high 4.2s. We see those kind of year in and year out. This is one of those few years that we haven't seen it, but it doesn't mean that 4.34, let's say, is not fast. Marvin Mims would definitely be adding a huge speed element to this team, and that's his specialty, stretching the field. It's something that the Chargers don't really have right now, especially while they haven't re-signed a Jalen Guyton. Now, this dude's explosive speed, he's great at creating yards after the catch. This dude's awesome in terms of, finding that threat downfield that's going to force defenses to finally respect the Justin Herbert's arm and the way he can access those deeper parts of the field. In terms of Marvin Mims, though, the reason I like this guy a lot is because of his consistency. His hands, very consistent, fights for the ball. I know he's not the tallest, most prototypical sized wide receiver you're going to find in the league. I think he's somewhere around 6 feet, 5'11", but he plays a lot bigger than that. He's not afraid to fight for contested catches. He's not afraid to fight for extra yards. He's got good mitts on him. Sure, he could maybe use a little bit more work on his route tree, but all around, man, very solid wide receiver. Again, you're getting one of the fastest guys in the draft, and you're not going to have to spend up in a first round for a Marvin Mims. I would project this guy maybe second round. Some people say third round, but either way, if you're not going to go in on wide receiver in the first round, Marvin Mims is a name I want you guys to remember going into the second round. So Marvin Mims would be a fantastic choice for the Chargers. Next up, maybe another name. Okay, we're going to get into some more unknowns here in a minute, I promise. But another name that we've kind of seen floating around the scene at wide receiver, and it's because, again, one of the faster guys in the combine in terms of his speed. You guys have to let me know if he runs anything better at his pro day, because this dude ran a 4.44 at the combine, which again is not slow. I have to emphasize that. That's not slow. It's just not burner speed like we're used to seeing at the combine. But it still is fast. It's one of the faster times that you're going to find on the Chargers roster. 4.44 is a lot faster than, I would say, the average speed of all the Chargers receivers put together, which is definitely saying something. And what I love about, let's say, the difference between Marvin Mims and Tyler Scott is Scott's ability to separate. So where Marvin Mims is better, let's say, in terms of, catching and fighting for extra yards and all that kind of stuff, maybe better hands even than Tyler Scott. Tyler Scott is a much better separator, right? And that ability to use that agility, to use that separation, combined with that speed, which again is not as fast as Marvin Mims, but still very fast, is pretty lethal. Actually, I've seen comparisons of Tyler Scott with Tyler Lockett, which does kind of make a lot of sense, not in the terms of, that's his floor and ceiling, but more in the sense of how you would utilize this guy and maybe where you would find his strengths in the NFL. Because with that speed, his deep threat potential, I would say, is huge, especially if you pair him with a big arm like Justin Herbert's. Now, I will say that Tyler Scott, he does have some issues in terms of holding on to the football, which again is kind of like the opposite. You got two fast guys in Mims and Scott. Mims with the mitts but poor route running, and then Tyler Scott with the good separation but maybe poorer in terms of catching. It's kind of yin yang. So you guys let me know in the comment section below where you would take these guys. Marvin Mims, again, kind of a second, third rounder. Tyler Scott, more of a third, fourth rounder. But again, it's kind of depending on what you're looking for. Both guys have the speed. You just kind of have to decide what you're looking for in terms of maybe separation or that yak ability that we've seen maybe missing from the Chargers wide receivers. Next up, This is going to be a cat that was recommended by Golden Mike J, man. If you guys don't know, the J is one of the early supporters of this channel. He actually sent me this microphone. He says, Director, you're not going to be out here without a golden microphone for a Chargers channel. And he texted me maybe about a week ago, and he says, Director, I want you to take a look at this guy, Kaz Allen, wide receiver out of UCLA. And honestly, I hadn't really heard of him before, but when I went back and watched a little bit of what Kaz had to offer, actually kind of interesting to think of what he could do with the Chargers. This is going to be more of a gadget player. Maybe he reminds me of Cordero Patterson or Deebo Samuel, right? The kind of player that you can utilize as a hybrid running back / wide receiver that has that speed and physicality, if I'm being honest. What he does after the catch is really nice in terms of his physicality, in terms of, finding space, looking for blockers, just understanding the space and geometry around him to get the best out of every touch that he's offered on offense. And honestly, I was really impressed. And this is not a guy that you're going to see a lot of buzz about. Matter of fact, it took me a little bit to find any sort of, articles or writings on this cat. Because again, he's not going to be a guy you're going to find maybe even in the later rounds. He's going to be a guy that you maybe can target in the 6th, 7th, maybe even undrafted. But he has that kind of upside where you're like, do the Chargers want to utilize a guy like Cordero Patterson or Deebo Samuel in Kaz Allen to better execute some of the things they've been trying to do these past couple of years with those gadget plays and trick plays? Again, I don't want to use them as frequently as Joe Lombardi wanted to, or as every other down, but I do think it has its place with this team, especially if you're drafting a guy that late with that sort of speciality, as well as maybe special teams upside. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. So Kaz, he's got decent speed, gadget kind of player, kind of your hybrid dude. Again, reminds me of Deebo and Cordero Patterson. Of course, he's a 6th or 7th round prospect, so he's probably not going to be that in the NFL, but you can use him similarly. So I like Kaz Allen, or Kazmir Allen, wide receiver out of UCLA. All right, guys, next up. I like this name quite a bit, man. It's one that, again, you start falling in love with some players in the first round, right? For me, it's definitely going to be Michael Mayer and Dalton Kincaid. I think both of those tight ends make me giddy at the thought of Justin Herbert having that guy to rely upon pretty much for the rest of his career. But there's a good chance, I'll be honest, there's a good chance that the Chargers don't get a tight end in the first round, especially if those guys are drafted before pick number 21. That doesn't mean that there aren't players available in the later rounds, right? Now, of course, we talked a little bit about Sam Laporta. We've talked a little bit about, some of these second round guys. There is a guy that maybe is rising right now. I've seen him getting drafted around the 3rd round that honestly, if we miss out on, let's say, Kincaid, right? That valuable receiver kind of tight end in the 1st round, this is the next guy I would probably be targeting. Maybe even, I don't know. It's actually starting to become a bit of a battle between him and Sam Laporta. This is Zach Koontz, tight end out of Old Dominion. Man, I got to tell you, dudes, again, maybe flying under the radar a little bit. You guys go check out some of his tape, some of his highlights, whatever you can access on YouTube. This dude's kind of crazy, right? He's freakishly athletic, freakishly tall, right? It kind of reminds me of the Chargers kind of have a little bit in Donald Parham, but maybe even a little bit different, because this guy's he's faster than Donald Parham. He's got Kittle speed. I think he's around like a 4.54, 4.52, somewhere around there. Very, very fast for the tight end position. And not only that, dudes, because when you're saying, okay, maybe this guy available, I'm seeing available getting drafted in the 4th and 3rd round right now, okay? When you see a guy in that range in the draft, you have to ask yourself, okay, maybe there's like some big problems with the his ability in contested catches. Maybe there's some separation issues. Maybe he's not the best blocker. I will tell you, one of those issues is true, but it's not the receiving traits. And those are the traits I would say are most important to the Chargers for the tight end position. See, the Chargers, and this is a big argument that we have between Michael Mayer and Dalton Kincaid, right? I love Michael Mayer because of the effect that he can have in your run game as well as in your passing game, because he's such an excellent blocker. But when it comes to pure receiving, Dalton Kincaid's got him beaten by a mile, just because the dude is more athletic, the freakish, in terms of after the catch stuff like that, whereas Michael Mayer's more of a contested catch kind of dude. The fit for the Chargers is definitely on the Dalton Kincaid side. Now, Zach Koontz, he's definitely in that arena. Excellent route runner, excellent speed like we already saw, George Kittle kind of speed. He's an awesome receiver, great hands, kind of that reliability safety valve, that dude over the middle. I don't know, man. I'm starting to wonder, maybe because he's out of Old Dominion, why is this guy not being drafted more consistently in the second round, at least in the conversation of a Sam Laporta, right? Because I love them both, but man, you guys go take a look at this dude. 6'7", 6'8", somewhere around there. He's got Kittle speed. He's got great hands. Sure, he needs work as a blocker. He's not a great blocker, but my God, I love this guy's upside, especially if the Chargers can snag him in the 3rd or 4th round where I'm seeing him right now. I wouldn't be shocked if this guy gets snagged up in the 2nd round. If you guys go take a look, a lot of people are actually comparing him to Mike Gesicki of the Miami Dolphins. Very, very, very impressive player if you guys wanted to take a look at him. I would be very excited. If we miss out on an early tight end, Zach Koontz is definitely one to keep your eye out for. All right, let's get into the running backs as we're getting ready to close out this video, starting with Kendra Miller, running back out of TCU. Now, you get Chargers fans talking running backs from TCU. We all get a little bit giddy, but let's all hold our horses here for just a second. Kendra Miller is not a LaDainian Tomlinson. But I can tell you that what he provides in terms of his skill set could mesh well with the Chargers in the instance that maybe the Bolts need to move on from let's say an Austin Eckler, maybe even if they don't, because of the kind of runner he is. Some people say he could be a bell cow. He could be featured in the right system. Could it be with the Chargers? Maybe, just maybe. I feel like Kendra Miller, he offers you something I would say is very reminiscent of Le'Veon Bell, right? Very patient runner, finds the opening, and the dude is just gone, right? He hits that burst, he hits that second gear, and the dude is off to the races. And honestly, that speed I've seen out of Miller once he does find that space and opening is actually quite impressive. That dude can take it to the house in any given play. I will say, though, that he does run out of steam pretty quickly. So that's something that I'm hoping that he can improve coming into the NFL because, again, that's definitely his trick. I feel like he's that one-cut guy. He's that guy that's going to find the speed and try to take it to the house and just utilize space. Very good at utilizing space. Now, the one thing I'll say that maybe is a bit of a knock on him in terms of fit for the Chargers is that I wouldn't say he's anything of a power back, right? He's got potential, right? I think he's somewhere around like 6 feet tall, 215 pounds. So he's got the frame for it. He's just not usually hitting those gaps quite as aggressively as you would hope for a guy his size. He is definitely more of that patient runner. Again, reminiscent of a Le'Veon Bell. He's projected somewhere around, I think, the 4th round at this point. And again, the Chargers have already kind of done that, right? Have already danced that dance. But if the Chargers are in a running back situation where maybe they need a guy that they can hand it off to more often than not and then kind of, shuffle in a Josh Kelly and an Isaiah Spiller, I like the upside of Miller a lot. I think this guy is very slept on. I do think that I don't know, this class is kind of crazy. I think in other years, he's probably a 3rd, 2nd rounder. Very nice. I think his upside's very impressive. Now, this last guy at running back, the last guy for the video, again, you guys let me know in the comment section below some of your favorite, maybe that we didn't cover in this one, because this is a part 1 video. We're going to cover maybe even more offensive guys here as soon as I get my hands on more research for these later round guys. One of my favorite guys at running back that I think would be an awesome addition, no matter what's going on with the Austin Eckler situation, is going to be a 4th/5th round prospect in Keaton Mitchell, running back out of ECU. This dude is fast, man, like fast. I mean, he reminds me so much of those like Darren Sproles types players, right? Those scat backs, those dudes that you can just utilize in every which way as a weapon. My God, man, it's shifty as heck too. This guy will juke defenders out of their shoes. He's very, very hard to contain. I like this cat a lot, man. Again, he's got a place on a team like the Chargers. The Chargers are predominantly passing football team. Sure, they're not going to hand the ball off 10, 15 times to a guy like Keaton Mitchell, but what they can do is utilize maybe an Austin Eckler and a Keaton Mitchell in the backfield and get some yards through the air, man. And this dude, just like Austin Eckler, you get him out in space, I see a lot of upside similar to an Austin Eckler. And if the Chargers, let's say, do have to move on from Eckler, I kind of want that element to stay with the team somehow. Get me Keaton Mitchell in the 4th or 5th round to supplement as that receiver. I don't know, man. I like this guy a lot. He reminds me a lot of Darren Sproles. Very shifty. you can utilize him in gadget, situations, not just as a running back, but as a wide receiver if you wanted to. I like him a lot. The biggest knock on him is that he's like 5'9", but I mean, so was the lightning bug. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like it quite a bit. I think Keaton Mitchell would bring that speed that the Chargers are looking for, as well as help keep that receiving threat, especially with that speed, alive and well with the Chargers passing offense from the backfield. So I like it quite a bit, man. Well, these are some of my guys in this video. Again, maybe not the longest video, but certainly want to get a conversation starting because we need more time, man. The draft is still a month away. We need more time to continue looking at some of these names. I'm very excited to see some of the names you guys put in the comment section below, because that'll give me an opportunity to start reading up, maybe watching a little bit of tape, highlights, whatever I can get my hands on, start hyping up some of these later round guys. Because the fact of the matter is, we're going to draft a couple of really nice players at the top of the draft that everybody kind of knows about, and then after that, I kind of want names to start rooting for, man. Jamari Sawyer was one of those names last year. Xander Horvath was one of those names last year. I would love to see more guys like, again, my guys in the middle rounds, Zach Koontz, some of the guys in the later rounds for me, Keaton Mitchell. You guys let me know some of your guys in the comment section below. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Direct. If you liked what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. I'm telling you, man, that tight end, go watch some of his tape, man. It's kind of freakish. It's freaky.